Hi guys, this video is a little bit different than the other ones. It's a Q&A about drug addiction and recovery. And I did a post October 22nd. First of all, thank you to all the nice messages. And it was also cool to see like everybody else in recovery saying like little subtle things that I could catch on. And a lot of you guys had some questions about drug addiction and recovery. And today, right now, I'm gonna answer them with Taylor's beautiful voice asking them.
First question, how long have you now been clean and sober?
So my new clean date is May 28th. So it's a little bit over 5 months. So it was 5 months on the 28th, so 5 months and 4 days. So, but before that, I mean, 2020 was a weird year because I was like drinking a little bit. So, but I had like 2 years and some change earlier from 2018 to like part of 2020. I was like clean, sober, no drinking, nothing, and then things got a little bit like weird. And I had a big relapse in May, which brought me to my 5th rehab, but my clean date was like May 28th, just before going to the rehab. So new clean date. But hey, don't count the days, make the days count.
What's a trigger for you? Is fitness your escape?
What's a trigger for me? Right now, lately the triggers, I've just been like, just sometimes I'm gonna see something and my thoughts will go quickly, one thing to another. And then I will like think about like stuff in the past or just using a little bit. But it's not a trigger. It's not triggering me that I have like to keep myself from going there. It's just like a thought that just pops up. So what I do, I just recenter myself, and I know that for now, like with all my experience, is that if I feel like I want to get some type of relief from drugs, if I go there, the relief is like a few minutes, and then as like I keep going because I always want more. I never get satisfied, and then there's never a relief. It creates more pain. So I know that now if I play the tape till the end, there's no way in hell I'll be satisfied with drugs. So I'm lucky now I don't have the obsession anymore, so it's not even a question for me to use drugs or drink, whatever. But yeah, sometimes I have thoughts, but they're just thoughts. And as long as you're sitting down and they stay in your head and you just let them go, thoughts will do nothing. So it's when you start acting on those thoughts. Maybe I'll text a guy that I was partying with just to see how he's doing. That's a step towards the wrong direction.
Big no-no.
Big no-no.
Do you answer the second part? Is fitness your escape?
Fitness is my escape. Every time I would start partying hard, I would not even want to train. And then fast forward to the rehab, I would sleep a few days. The first thing I do when I wake up is go to the rehab's gym or whatever they had there. And so it's weird. It's like when drug addiction is like alive and going strong and got me hooked, I don't want to train. It's like I'm going away from all the things that made me who I am, and then I run towards like doing bad stuff or whatever and just losing everything. But then when I stop that and I start recovery, I start training again. So I don't think it's an escape, because if I look at drugs like instant relief, like training is the opposite. Training is like a journey of like delayed gratification. You're suffering now in the gym for something good later. It's the opposite. Like drugs is like instant reward now, bad consequences later, suffering later.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite. So no, I don't think it's an escape. I think it's just like, I think it's a tool for my recovery. It's like part of my life.
There was lots of questions about what was your drug of choice.
Oh yeah, I find that people are like asking that. It's like they want to just gossip a little bit, and the reason why I never really was clear about it, because I like to keep it vague, because I've learned in rehabs and with the program I do that it's good to keep it general so that more people can relate. Because for example, if I'm doing some hard drugs, whatever, crack cocaine, and then some guy who's really suffering with like alcohol, and has some type of ego, will be like, nah, I'm not there yet, I'm good. Right? But if I keep it general, more people can relate. So that's why I'm always like saying like drug of choice, whatever, or I'll be vague like stimulants or things like that, and I'll never be like, oh yeah, I take this and that this way. It's like, it's not useful. I don't think it's that. It doesn't bring anything to the message.
Did you ever have a steroids addiction?
No. The thing with like PEDs is that, because I've seen some questions like, oh, addicted to PEDs. PEDs is performance enhancing drugs. But the thing is, I think people can have like an addiction to a body image or a certain look that they're gonna seek to feel like good about themselves. So that itself can be an addiction, but I don't think it's the stuff itself. The stuff itself will like feed that addiction. But no, I don't think it's like a problem at all. And you gotta look into it. You gotta look within. You gotta ask yourself like, should I be really taking these things right now? Is like really adding something positive to my life? Do I need to take them? Like, so, and because everybody's recovery is different, I mean, only you know what's right for you. So you should focus on that. And also, there's like, if I would take a drug, in seconds, I'm gonna feel good. If I would take like a shot of testosterone, nothing happens. It's like with hard work and delayed again gratification that I'm gonna, somebody would have a result with that. So I don't think it's the same class. Like coffee is more of a drug than steroids when you think about it.
And you love coffee.
I love coffee. Yeah, that's for sure.
How did you find a coach that understands the struggle?
Well, with Dorian, I mean, after my third rehab, there was a mistake. I was put in a shelter on the York Boulevard in Hamilton, Salvation Army. I stayed there for a month because I paid the rent and I didn't have any money. I was on welfare. After a month, I went to a recovery home, and then for a month, and then after that, Dorian saw that I was doing well because he was always there for me. If he sees that I'm doing well, this is good, and Dorian was there for me. So he welcomed me to his home and stuff, and then you should fast forward that a little bit. Then I would relapse again, but then he would kick me out. So Dorian was like there, and Rachel, of course. Noah was there too. Like they were all there for me, with the good and the bad, and they saw me like succeeding, failing, and then succeeding again, and then failing like back in May again. They were like so disappointed. But then, with time and seeing that I'm actually doing the work right now, and they're back, they're being proud of me, I hope. And so it's because the thing with my coach, it's not only my coach, it's like they're all my best friends. So it's like it's different, like family. So would my mom be there for me? Like it's kind of the same thing. How do you find a mom that loves you? It's like they're just there, So, but yeah, it's good that he knows my problems and my weaknesses, because if you would have a coach that would say like, hey, take this shit and this shit and like take some speed to like cut down, and they wouldn't know that I'm in recovery, like that would be bad, I guess. I'm not saying coaches do that. That's just a stupid example.
I'm nervous I'll never feel another high like using. How did you come to accept that?
How come to accept that? I mean, to be honest, it was hard at first, because my definition of fun was like, I'm gonna get as many people and girls and things and that, and throw some fucking loud music and just go crazy and use drugs that made me feel like incredible at the time. And then you go from that. That's your baseline for fun. And at first it's crazy, but then your crazy becomes like your normal. And then once you become sober, you're like below normal. Then you're like, man, nothing is fucking fun anymore. But that's because I would set myself up with like these crazy expectations of what fun is, and with these extreme sensations. So what it took is that just really accepting that I can't do drugs anymore, and then work from there, and then find pleasure in the little things. And right now, I wouldn't want to go back to there. That was like a phase I had, like the fun. Now it's like I want to build my life to something great, and everything that's like too fun right away is like, sometimes you got to ask yourself, like, is it good for me? So I'm just thinking more now. Before I was like, I want to feel something, I just want to feel something. And that laid me down like feeling really bad in the end, you know, when you lose everything. Just time and trying to like focus on the little things with gratitude. Okay, maybe I can't feel this crazy high anymore, but at least I'm not homeless. I'm not this, I'm not that. I got friends, I got family, and people love me, and I can love them back. Because ultimately, like, drugs made me run away from the people that love me and that I love towards people that just met my needs at the time. It's hard. Well, it's hard at first, for sure. Like, everything seems boring. But then you gotta take the time, work, and just get help, and then your brain resettles a little bit.
Yeah, I think once the drugs clear out of your system and you kind of get back to baseline normal, emotions hit different.
Yeah. There's this thing called dopamine fasting, where like for a day or more days, you have like no music, no TV, nothing fun. It's pretty much you do like tedious tasks at home, like clean your floor with a toothbrush for days or something. And then like it's so boring that becomes your normal. And then just like going outside and talking to somebody like feels like so amazing. So it's like no social media, nothing, right? But so it depends. Like if you're always exposed to some crazy stuff that would make your brain secrete all these crazy hormones of pleasure, yeah, it's gonna be bad. You know, so you gotta notice that taking all these hard drugs and being on social media all the time is not a normal thing for your brain to experience.
What led you down the road of addiction initially?
Should we go back, like...
Way back.
Way back?
Yeah, go way back.
Like before even the drugs?
I guess. Do you want to?
Yeah, sure. I was never feeling like totally comfortable in my life because there was always something lacking. And that probably comes from like, I was a child, parents got divorced, I'm scared, I don't have all the love that I need. My dad's somewhere, or they just split up, right? My mom's doing her best, but she's busy with my two other brothers. So there's a bit lack of love here. And then, you know, when you're young, you don't know. That's why I started training too, because I was feeling worthless, right? And scared, so I wanted to become stronger. I just started doing push-ups at home and stuff. But then, you know, just the validation from people, like I would like drink at first, and I remember the first time I drank with my friend Cobb. It's like he had like a glass, then it was like this much vodka is I don't want to say I just said it.
Like a wimp?
Yeah, this amount of like alcohol is a wimp. This is a man. This is a machine. I was like, I feel like being a machine is what I want to be. People were looking at me as a machine. Puked everywhere after that. I was like mopping vomit on my dorm. I was in a dorm in my front neighbor's door. It was like stupid. So, but then I was always like, I had to perform at the parties, the life of the party. So keep in mind the void is like being filled by a little bit of that. But then at like 20 years old, I went to a rave, and then I was like taking these drugs, and then I was like, holy shit, that's it. Like that was like the best thing that I've ever done in my whole life. That was like I felt like the most complete. I felt like love. I felt all these things I didn't have. It's like right away, boom, intensely, I had it right there. So I was like, shit, it's like, this is it. And then I didn't know in what kind of trap I was setting myself into, right? It's like decisions I made in the past, like when I was young, still today, my brain's affected by it, and my decisions and was affected by it, like up to like this point because I'm in recovery. So that's pretty much how I got into it. I had like a void. I wanted to fill it out with something. I found drugs. I was like, shit, I feel great on drugs, you know, like. And then when I wasn't on drugs, I would go back to the base level we're talking about. And then I had to like do the same thing again to feel good again. So then at first it was like every month, every 2 weeks. And then I could stop back then a little bit because my addiction wasn't like, because always addiction is a progressive disease. When you're young, some people they go straight to the gutter, but some people it's more of a gradual thing, and then you're hooked. You know, you find the right drug or the wrong drug, and then you get really hooked on that one, and then that one ruins your life. But it's like it's like a lead up to that. It's like very like, it's like, imagine if the addiction is like a little demon. It's like, it's preparing a plan. It's like calculating stuff, you know, programming your addiction and trying to ruin your life. And then, okay, this guy we can attack right away, or this one, like let him go for a little bit. Let him have some fun and then really get him, you know, when he tries that one thing. But once I was like using external things like drugs to fill up my void, long enough, you repeat that long enough with instant reward, become addicted. Because the brain like loves patterns, and then your spiritual like malady that you're feeling incomplete all the time, except when you do that, then you become addicted. So that's pretty much how like it happened. You know, I'm glad that I really like became a real addict, because if I was just like using sparingly, like I see some people still doing, it's like you become stagnant. But now it's like I was like kind of stagnant, not progressing. Then I really lost everything when I tried some different drugs. But now I'm like, because I'm doing nothing, because I was there, now I'm like, now I'm free and I can really like improve and have a good life.
What's been the toughest part of your recent recovery?
The toughest part? I mean, the toughest part is just always stopping the drugs. Because my like recent relapse was like a mistake. Because I don't think, now looking back, it's like it happened, but with the years of recovery I had and what I knew, I should have not relapsed. Because I was complacent, but then I chose to do drugs. It's like my recovery was relying on the gym. Well, Big Mike's waiting to me at the gym, can party. But then I had an ankle surgery, and then during the ankle surgery, I was like at home doing nothing. So boom, I did a mistake. But then like that was only 3 days. Went back to the gym, was fine. And then I got sick, like back in April. And then my friends were all scared because of like, you know what, going on in the world right now. So I was like alone, lonely, sad, feeling rejected. And I was like doing all these cognitive distortions in my head because I had no recovery, right? Because the whole time like of the pandemic, I was like not going to meetings.
And you were isolated?
Yeah. So I did a mistake. But from that mistake, I couldn't go back to the gym. I was stuck. I kept like, I knew I had to stop. I would stop. I would literally throw shit down into the toilet. I would go to bed, woke up the next day, buy some more. I've done that like recently, like back in May. It's like with all this stuff, because I've done videos about recovery before, like, you know, like after my fourth rehab was like recovery guy in the fitness world, you know. I went straight back to being like powerless. So the hardest part recently, back if I look at back in May, is that was just to finally stop. Like right now, it's easy not to do it. But if I were, God forbid, make a stupid mistake and have it in my system, now it would be as hard to stop. I mean, I knew I was going to stop, and I had to stop. Like, it took me a month and a half to stop. A month and a half of like stop and go. Like sometimes just hours. Kind of stopping after this. And then this was getting near the end. And you know what? I'm just going to get some more so I could last another 12 hours. And then sleep at like midnight. Do the day. And then at midnight, I'm like, should I do more or not? And then like 3 hours goes by. Just me thinking if I should do it or not do it. And then what do you think happens? So it's like I become possessed. I don't have power of like, I know in my heart I shouldn't do it, but it's like my brain, my body makes me do another decision. So stopping that was the hardest. Again, my friends literally had to step in the way. And it's funny because there was a part of me that was like protecting myself from it. Like, okay, well, to Dorian and Rachel, I'll put my location services on my phone so you know where I am. So that lasted like a few days. Then I got the idea from someone who probably regrets telling me that idea, but he didn't like realize what he was doing, is that I have another phone. So I got my other phone, and while I was in Erin, I got a SIM card in there, so I would leave my good phone here, where they would think I would be here, and I would leave with my other phone, do whatever. So it's like the good me was preventing me from going too far, but then the bad me was like counteracting the good actions that I did. So it was like a race like that. And in the end, like the good me won. I had always a little bit step ahead, but it's like that constant inner battle made a mistake of a moment last a month and a half.
Has art been helpful to your recovery process, expressing emotions, inspiring you, etc.?
Art?
Art.
Yeah. So this is the first one that I did in the last rehab. My first acrylic painting. This one I put a lot of emotion into it. And then after doing that, I was like, I actually like it. Because I was drawing before with Sharpies and stuff, and people say, oh, that's cool. But I was like, I didn't feel like it was real art because it was like just a Sharpie, and I thought I was like, but with painting, it's like now I feel like a real painter. So it does help. For real, it helps with not just recovery, just like it's another aspect of my life that I'm like developing, and it's helping, to have a balanced life. Because I think this is a side of me that I need to build and improve, because it just makes sense, I guess. So I'm always doing a little bit of art on and off. Like there's one on my table over there, then I gotta finish. So yeah, it does help for sure.
And we love your art.
Yeah.
If you could go back earlier this year and not relapse, would you? Or did it teach you something?
I wouldn't change it. The reason why is that I feel way better now than I did just before. It's like, why would I? Because I was kind of suffering inside. I was like lost. I had like no structure, and I needed like a big wake-up call and a consequence to get my shit together and re-spark my recovery. Would have I re-sparked my recovery and do all these meetings, 90-90, and all the work in the rehab if it wasn't for that? Because in this rehab, I learned so many things like about like CBT stuff, like cognitive behavioral therapy, that I've heard before that never sinked in. So I think I wouldn't change a thing. Now it's done. I mean, I'm just very sorry that I hurt people on the way and myself too, but it is what it is. Can't change the past, so gotta accept it. Like, and everything that happened in my life, step by step, led me to here right now. Yeah. Stole your line.
Yeah, stole my line.
I gratefully accept the past, and I don't think I would change a thing, because things would be different, and who knows what would they be,
And the steps have making amends for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
What keeps you going? Whoa. You're holding the sword now?
Holding the sword now. That's a good question. A lot of things we do in life and our personalities are based out of fear and trauma. So I think the fear of not being good enough, probably why I always push myself past the limits, because it's like there's a voice inside my head that says like, don't stop now. You can do more. All the time. And if I'm doing something great during the week and I'm productive, there's a voice that says like you could do more. And I can. I know my purpose in life is not, and it was, even when I was doing drugs, it was never to be like a loser like that, an addict. I'm not saying people with drug addiction are losers. I'm just saying that's how I felt. So I knew it wasn't my purpose in life. Yeah, and I knew it was temporary. It's just when I wanted to stop, it didn't work by myself. What drives me is just following my heart, and just, it's like a balance between like feeling not good enough and like channeling that to doing great things. It's pretty much a mix of all that. It's a good question. You can't really answer that with like a yes or no. Yeah.
The follow-up is, how do you handle self-doubt?
Like how? What do you mean?
When you doubt yourself, what do you do?
I don't think I doubt myself that much.
No? Mr. Confident.
No, I mean, I just say like, oh, can I do? No, I just know. I know. I just know that I can. The thing is with that is that, listen, I'm going to use the I statement. When I am doing my best, I'm going to get the best results. I can't control like the result exactly. That's not up to me. That's up to Sky Daddy. you know, or God, if you want to use that, the G word, higher power. So it's like, if I'm doing my best, I'm going to get the best result. And doing my best is the best I can do. The result's not up to me. So, oh, can I do it or not? It doesn't even matter if I think I can or not. If I'm doing my best, this is the best I'm going to get. But I know, for example, like if I do competitions, you know, like I know I can win. And then I did. I'm holding the trophy right here. I did the Olympia, but a lot of people say that and then they fail. So I don't think you should ever doubt yourself. If you're doubting yourself, just put it on hold and do something else that you're not doubting yourself with. You know, like it's just weird. Doing it half-assed, that's not a way to do it. But like I said, if you're doing your best, that's all you can do. Leave the results to, you know, to God or whatever.
Spiritual, non-religious.
Yeah, but when I say God, I don't mean like the Catholic God. God, a general word that engulfs just, you know, like every religion has their gods. It's the same freaking thing, different message. But that's what I believe. You guys can believe whatever you want. That's great. I love people who love Jesus. I love people who love Allah. Doesn't matter. Because the program I follow is a spiritual and not religious program. And everybody's entitled to their own beliefs, as long as it's working for you and you believe it.
Love that.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for someone who thinks they might be addicted to drugs?
If you think you might be addicted, chances are you are or almost there. Because what happened to me is that I knew I had a problem, but I was trying to fix it myself. And I was failing day after day and just trying and failing. And then, no, I'm good this time. Because I was using just like willpower. You know, I can do it. I can beat this by myself. And I had no idea what the recovery was. I was just like this, I can't like stop. And then I would like manipulate my own thoughts and be like, I'll just do it this weekend. And then weekend will be 2 weeks. So then I got caught, and then I was put like ultimatum, you gotta go to rehab. Then I was like, look at the facts of me like failing again and again by myself. I didn't argue. I was like, all right, let's go. Then 2 days later I was in my first rehab, but hopefully you don't have to be there and, you know, almost kill yourself and just have big consequences and stress people out. If you catch yourself and you're like, shit, I think I might have a problem, just don't keep it to yourself. Don't keep the secret, because then it will just like, the more time you're doing it, the more consequences can be worse and worse. So you reach out to somebody you trust, maybe your mom or something, or a friend, somebody you can, you know they won't judge you, but it will be scary because you're gonna be afraid that people will judge you. But the thing is that you're not alone with this. So like, if you think you're alone right now, and then you get the help, you go to rehab, you're gonna be like, wow, there's a bunch of people here like me, then you feel better. But the main thing is that just seeking out for help. There's a bunch of programs out there in the rehabs, phone lines and things like that. There's 12-step programs, there's smart recovery, there's like DARE, is that a thing, DARE? D-A? There's a thing in the US like D-A-R-E.
That's when you're like in grade school.
Oh. Okay.
They come in and talk to you.
But anyway, there's like, if you just Google like drug addiction and recovery help, you're gonna find lots of like resources.
You can get a counselor.
Yeah, a counselor. Group therapy is the best, I think. And rehabs, I did 5 of them. And I'm really happy that I did. Like, if you're saying that, oh, I can't go to rehab, I have work to do, it's like you're gonna lose your job or you're gonna die. Like, if you're a working alcoholic or working addict, I mean, you're gonna have other problems that will go down the way, or you're gonna ruin all your relationships. It's like, don't get there. Like, it's worth dropping some shit in real life, put it on hold to do a rehab. The idea of rehab before going in there always like scares me, and like I hate it. But every time I'm in rehab and I finish a rehab, I'm like, and I think back about the rehabs, it's like, it's all like good souvenirs for me at least. It's like, oh, like, shit, it's like the only place that 24/7 the focus is like on me getting better. Where else are you gonna do that? Here we have like whole life coming at us. The responsibility is there. There's people there who need you for something. And rehab, none of that is there. It's just a certain amount of time fixed to make you feel better and get your shit together. So when people say that I can't stop using drugs, one of the first things I say is that go to rehab. Why do I say that? It's because it worked for me. That's my experience.
What does the support system entail?
Well, I'm going to talk about my support system, I guess. It's the reason why I stayed in Burlington. Because I'm not from here. I'm from around Montreal, right? But here, I was like, all my friends here are like in the gym world, and they're good people, and they're not at all in the drugs and party world. So that was like so cool. If I hang out with these people, they're never gonna tempt me to do like drugs. And then I'm honest with them. So we're gonna be honest with your support system. They're gonna know my situation and will be able to help, act accordingly, or put boundaries, which is annoying sometimes, but you need it for them and for me. So to have a good support system, you gotta be honest. They gotta be like not a trigger for you. And also, I think like getting help constantly, like rehab is not a thing you do for 30 days, then you stop and you're cured. I'm never gonna be cured. That's why like you see a lot of people say, like you can see in movies like, hi, my name is so and so, I'm an alcoholic or an addict. Like I say that all the time. Hi, my name is Antoine, I'm an addict in recovery. Because if I think I'm not anymore, trouble. Because my brain is gonna be always my brain. I'm born with it. The first few years made it a certain way. Hardwired to be an extremist, hardwired to be obsessive, hardwired to be like, when it's time to party, I'm gonna party myself into the ground. So it's like, I can't do it. That's just me. And a lot of people are in the same boat. So it's like, think about it this way. It's like training, spiritual fitness, recovery fitness. You're building your muscle to fight against addiction. What happens when you stop going to the gym? You become a fat slob, unhealthy. It's true. Why are you laughing?
So
Come on, sports.
Sports all day.
All day, all night. You got an hour now, sports. So what I mean by that is you're going to become weak. So when it's time to deadlift 300 pounds, you're going to hurt your back. You won't be able to do it. So if you slack up on your spiritual fitness, on your recovery fitness, when it's time to deal with triggers and deal with drug addiction, you might be weak, and then it's going to get you. Because drug addiction, if you see it like a little devil, like a demon, it's always like nearby, and it's never stopping its training. It's always training, doing push-ups in the parking lot, curls in the back door, like in the closet while you're not watching, getting in shape. It's waiting for the time to attack. Because you might be able to use a little bit here and there and think you're good, but then at some point, it's going to get you. So I say that because being complacent is the reason why I relapsed and went to a 5th rehab. So don't be complacent. Keep doing the meetings. And by meetings, I mean group therapy. Get somebody who's in recovery with a lot of experience and will guide you in yours. We call it a sponsor sometimes. And just never stop doing it. So support system. I said, let's recap this. Families and friends that support you, that you're honest with, that know about you.
Not triggers.
Not triggers. not like hanging out with friends you used to party with. That's no. Just usually when you go into recovery, you know, you separate yourself from them naturally. You don't even have to force anything. And then have a support system from other people who are like you, other addicts in recovery. And you find those in like group therapy, in meetings, 12-step meetings, things like that. And have a routine, you know, that involves all of that. So I think that's a support system.
Daily maintenance.
Daily maintenance. We went more than just a support system, but I think what I said was important.
Yeah. That's a very long answer for a short
It's
question.
important though. It's like
It is
how
important.
Yeah, it's like how you stay clean.
100%.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, let me find this next one. What brought you out of rock bottom? Any slip-ups along the way? Well, we talked about your slip-ups already.
Yeah. I mean, what brought me out of it, like when I'm at rock bottom and I start recovery kind of thing.
Yeah. Like when you were at your lowest, what brought you out of that?
Capitulation.
What?
Capitulation. Surrender.
Oh, what is that first word?
Google it to see if I'm right.
How do you spell that?
Capitulation. Capitulation. Read out loud.
Whoa!
Read out loud the...
Capitulation. The action of surrendering or ceasing to resist an opponent or demand. Wow.
There you go.
The French speaker teaches the English speaker
Yeah.
new words.
Capitulation is a French word too, that's why.
Yeah.
I just took a risk there.
Wow.
So, capitulation, the act of surrender. So, at the lowest of the lowest, trying to control my drug use, I came to the hard truth that my life is shit. Why? Because of drugs. So I accepted my demise. And I gave up the war on drugs in the sense that I gave up trying to control it. And that act of surrender is what got me out of the rock bottom. Because at that point, I was willing to do whatever it takes to get better, to get clean. But the only reason why I wanted to get clean and get out of it, because remember drugs were like supposedly like really fucking cool, was really bad consequences that were worse than the drugs themselves, the feeling they gave me. Because at first it's like it's all cool, but then it doesn't take too long, they're not cool anymore. I was at Doran's house and I would call the rehab. I was like, all right, let's start recovery, but then it's like, I had like more drugs hidden right underneath that couch over there. And I told Rachel, I was like, okay, cool. Oh, where are you going? I'm just gonna go home and grab some clothes and I'll be back. They said, no, you're not. I was like, damn, I got caught. So they knew I was going to use the rest of the stuff I had. That's what I wanted to do. That's the point. I said, what does it matter? I was just like trying to get my way out of it. But Rachel physically put her foot in the door. So it's like I had to if I chose drugs, I had to physically push my friend who's trying to help me out of the way. And I just couldn't do that. So I had a mental breakdown, cried for 40 minutes, tears running on my face. And then at some point I just said I give up. I said it out loud, I give up, without noticing. And then I sat on a chair. And then the I give up was I'm gonna give up trying to do it. I'm gonna give up trying to use drugs. I gave it up. And that was the first part of the new recovery that I have today. But it's I didn't want to stop unless I had a huge consequence. I had to suffer a lot because I'm stubborn. And I'm not the only one like that.
Are you cutting up the carpet?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
No.
We have a French question. Qu'est-ce qui a fait en sorte que tu t'es dit c'est assez? Je reprends ma vie en main. We just answered that. That's funny.
Oh, really?
It says what made so that you told yourself enough is enough and you got your shit together?
Yeah.
Pretty much what I said. Lots of suffering, rock bottom, and then surrendering. That's a good recap of what I said for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Did you go to rehab on your own the first time, or were people pushing you to go?
It wasn't my idea, but they did have to push me. It's like I said earlier, I look at the facts okay, so quick recap is that I didn't want to stop using drugs until my friend died. I was found dead from an overdose on Christmas Eve 2014. And then I kept using, confused, hurt. And then 2 weeks later, you actually find that video on my YouTube channel. It's called Why I Was Away from January 5th, 2015. It's my first recovery video, and I explain why I was away and the problems, a little bit of stuff that happened. So I committed in my head, I'm gonna stop. I never said that before in my life. And then I stopped for 2 weeks. I did again. And then I moved to Toronto because I was dating somebody from Toronto at the time. And she's the one who found me passed out in my car, and she knew I was like using drugs, and she knew I couldn't stop, and I was like lying and things like that, and you know, I wasn't subtle with it, I guess. And then she just said, you have to go to rehab. And I said, okay. Fuck, I couldn't stop by myself. I was like looking at the hard facts. I was like, okay, I can't. I never really was like stubborn with the fact that like, no, I can still do it by myself. I just like, I wanted to stop it. I didn't want it anymore, but I just couldn't by myself. So I did that, I'll do a rehab. So I did it, I did the rehab. 45 days, 2 weeks before it was supposed to be 60 days, I'm like, I feel great. I have enough. I'm gonna go, you know, start my recovery. And I go out, I go with my friends to the Toronto Pro Show, feel great, you know, and then everything's cool. And then as soon as, you know, I'm left alone in my apartment for 1 minute, 3 days later, I relapsed. So that was my first rehab. The second one, I was like, no, I knew that the only thing that could stop that is rehabs. So I did like 5 of them. Every time I was like, I don't want to go again. But why do I want to go? Because I don't want to stop. There's a part of me that doesn't want to stop, right? There's a part of me that wish I could just stop easy and get back to my life without consequences, but it's never like that. Rehab was always the only thing that could like stop me. Just like I surrender, go to rehab, work on it, and then the obsession goes away, and I'm good until I become complacent, I guess.
Yeah, the thing about addiction is you think you want to stop, and there's a part of you that doesn't want to.
No.
And it's scared.
Yes.
To stop and
Scared
live
to stop.
without it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You're scared to live without it. And then like you wish you could live with it.
And that's where recovery kind of teaches you to live without drugs.
Yeah. To accept life on life's terms, they say. So what that means is that before, life would make you feel a certain way, certain things would happen, you didn't like it, I'm gonna make myself feel a different way using something external, drugs. But now you gotta accept things that people say, accept the fucking weather, accept this, accept that. We accept life the way it is. Because before I didn't. I was like, you know what, it's a nice day, but could be better. You know, so.
Always wanting more.
Always wanting more. So I hope this video helped you out if you're struggling or if you know someone that struggles, because everybody knows somebody that has a problem with addiction, either if it's you or somebody close to you, somebody you know about. And sadly, a lot of people can name somebody who passed away from a problem like that. So I hope this video helped. And in the comments, maybe ask some more questions that didn't get answered, because I'm going to do a part 2 of that, because I plan to do more than one, and to help. So maybe share this video with somebody, you know, that would get benefits from watching it. And also, if you're struggling right now, make sure that you seek out for help, because I couldn't do it by myself. I can diet for a whole year because shows get postponed and this and that, tear biceps, come back, like do a show, win a show, go to the Olympia, do all these things, eat the same thing for pretty much a whole year, you know, do hours of cardio, hours of training, discipline, but I couldn't stop using drugs by myself. So what I did, I seek help. And it might sound scary, you might think less of yourself for doing it, but knowing your own weaknesses and sharing them to get better is actually a strength. Strength is in numbers, because I couldn't do it by myself, but together I was able to. Hopefully that the same can apply to you. So thanks for watching. Press the like button, subscribe, all that stuff, but most of all, have a nice day.